It's February 22nd, and this week on the Team Rivals podcast, we're going to be talking about spring training games starting tomorrow. That's a good sign. Pace of play talk is out there, and boy, that's crazy. Cardinals welcome a former face back to camp, Jason Mott. What's it say about the Cardinals' confidence in their bullpen? Does Rizzo deserve a C? Cub fans losing their mind? Kyle Schwarber skinny? Everything's going crazy on Team Rivals podcast, and that show's going to start right now.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. So crazy, folks. So crazy. There's a drive. Way back. It's good, baby. Playing a high drive in the left. Back goes the Craig. He's at the track. He has it. He's the Cardinals World Champion for 2011. A little bouncer slowly toward right. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Team of Rivals podcast. No insiders, no anonymous sources, just passionate analysis from the bleacher seats. Here are your hosts, Ron Nuttall and Peter Geddes.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. Another week, another episode. And guys, we have actual baseball games starting up tomorrow. Who's not excited for that?
That would be me.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. That's great. It's another hurdle in this doldrum of spring training. We covered that last week, so I think everybody who's listening knows how we feel about the spring training. Should it be shorter?
I don't know that spring training necessarily needs to be shorter. I just think that you can't focus on the fact that they're playing games. I mean, it ultimately it doesn't matter because they're not real games.
You know what I love? I'm excited.
Would you rather them not
I'm excited
do
for
the
split
games?
squad games, to be honest with you.
I honestly don't. I mean, look, it's a necessary evil. I just don't understand why baseball makes such a big deal out of spring training compared to every other sport. Every other sport has some kind of training camp at the beginning of their season, but they don't make such an obsessive deal about it the way that baseball does. I mean, yes, I'm glad the pitchers and catchers have reported. I'm glad that everybody's there now, and you're seeing players taking live batting practice. That's fantastic.
I don't know about
I don't need the constant updates.
You think about Bears preseason, and you got 670 the score always. We're from Bourbonnais, and they're there for like 2 freaking weeks, and Hub Arkish is on the score like every 3 hours to give updates about Bears 2-a-days and practices and stuff.
You're wait a second, Elliott. You're talking about Bears preseason where they have 150 guys standing on the sidelines, and none of the starters play until the first half of the third game, and they still charge the same price that they charge for a regular game. That you think that's a good idea?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not going to care about baseball spring training any more than I care about Bears Well, I really don't care about.
All right,
Bears
so Pete's in a chipper mood.
He is. Yeah, I'm a little bitter.
Yeah. I can't tell.
I'm excited. I cannot wait to watch the game tomorrow afternoon. I get to work from home, so I get to throw it up on the TV, and I get to listen to the game while I'm working. So I'm excited about it.
You know what I'm excited about, guys?
I'm happy for you. What are you excited about, Ron?
I think we dub that Elliott. I'll get a graphic eventually on here. We'll just call that. It'll flash up above his head, dick mode. Okay, when he's in that gear, we'll just put it on.
Is that me or is that Elliott?
No, that's you. Yeah, you know the answer to that. Okay, guys, you know what I'm excited about. And Pete, before I ask you to run down where everybody can find us, I am excited about launching our team store on the website.
I love the fact that you went to this effort, Ron. I really do. The only problem is that it doesn't exactly, the name of the site doesn't exactly line up with the whole ethos of our podcast.
But here's the thing, right? So to find
sounds a little frou-frou. I'm just
what, are you talking about the Zazzle name?
Zazzle. So You can find us online
Oh, Jesus.
at
Oh, don't.
teamrivalspodcast.com.
Oh, don't.
We are on all the social medias, so
Oh, boy.
Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and we're working on Snapchat, but
I'm
we're
not endorsing
quite
this.
there yet because we don't know how to use it.
I'm
okay?
not.
You can email us at the show at teamrivalspodcast.com.
Nope.
You know how to listen to us. Obviously, you're watching us on YouTube. But what's most important is that you can now buy Team Arrivals Podcast branded merchandise at Snapples.com.
He's still going. Where is my dick mode graphic? I will get it on there here soon. Okay,
can we
fine.
add this post?
That storefront has a pretty good a seamless tie-in to an external website. So I chose that one. Pete doesn't like the name. I don't care. I'm excited to put that up because we've actually had several people ping me on requests of where can we get one of your podcast shirts. So I put it up there, folks. If you go to teamarivalspodcast.com, there is a link up at the top. It said Team Arrivals Store, and it'll take you right to the location. And it's not just the black shirts that you've seen maybe pictures of. We have a lot of new ones up there. So have at it, folks. It supports our show.
Yeah. And I am working. My dad owns a shop where he has an embroidery machine, and he said tonight that he is going to make us some polos. So we should have some polos. We should have some polos here in the next couple weeks.
Damn, I can't wait.
I love this rundown. I think that this is what we need to talk about tonight.
We're gonna do them in red. We're gonna do them in cubby blue, and we're gonna do them in black.
I like it.
Beautiful.
All right,
Elliott, you're the man. All right,
Pete, now get to the stuff. Get to the stuff.
I already covered it.
Nope, all of it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Oh, you're right.
iTunes,
SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and Spotify. And you can reach Elliott on Twitter at @TOR_Elliott. 2 L's, 2 T's.
That's right.
I covered everything.
All right. We're ready to go. Guys, does Anthony Rizzo, does he deserve to don that fabled C that's only given to a handful of athletes that we know of, right?
In baseball, yes.
Yeah, in baseball, it's very rare.
It's not a common thing in baseball.
So the last one was Derek Jeter, correct?
Boy, Pete, do you know if there are any other players that have been given that? There has to be a few more. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Off the top of my head, Derek Jeter was the last baseball player to.
He's the most well-known recently that I can think of, but I don't know if there's another team captain. But so, what do you guys think? This is your team. You don't want to hear.
I actually just looked it up, and it seems that the Cubs have not named a team captain since. I'm getting conflicting reports. It's either Sammy Sosa or Derek Lee.
Freaking way.
Derek Lee, I would believe over Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, I believe that Sammy got one. They were all about him.
Well, they were.
They were his team. They're his team. Baseball is being very good to me. I don't speak English. Sorry.
We are so. It's so bad. So bad tonight.
Season 2, episode, what is this? 13?
12.
Topic on hand. Does Anthony Rizzo deserve the C? I think yes. So he's deserved the C since he threw down his glove, he threw down his hat, and he was walking into the Reds dugout all by himself to beat up the entire dugout.
Yeah, that's when this became his team.
This has been his team since then, and I know that his contract is up in 2020, and there's kind of question marks around that. Mm-hmm. But this guy is the team leader. He is not only the team leader on the field, he is the team leader off the field. And I think with recent events and the things that he's done, it not only shows the kind of baseball player that he is, it shows the kind of person that he is. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks volume to his teammates. I think it speaks volume to fans. And I think that he garnered many more fans who are not Cubs fans after the things that he has just recently done.
Well, and you brought that up. And Pete, I want to get your take on, does he deserve the C in your mind or not? But yeah, he's had a tough week, right, guys? That was really ugly news. And I know it hit him pretty hard, but I think just hearing what he has done and his reaction to it, that at least that part of the story is a positive under terrible circumstances. But I have a lot of respect for the guy. And I certainly, when I hear the Chicago Cubs as an outside fan, I certainly, Anthony Rizzo to me as an outsider is the face of that team. It's not Joe Madden. To me, it really is Anthony Rizzo.
I got to tell you, this week, the way that he conducted himself in the wake of that shooting, the fact that he was empathetic to those kids, that he spoke his mind, and yet somehow managed to walk that very fine line where he wasn't political.
Yeah, at all.
And even when people, a lot of the media tried to put words into his mouth, and he said, "I never said gun control. I never said that." And you don't know that he's not thinking that, but he never said it. He walked a very fine line of trying to understand what those kids had gone through and trying to be supportive of them in any way that he could. I got to tell you, I've never been prouder that he's my son's favorite baseball player.
And when you look at a lot of athletes today, and you think, do I want my son or daughter idolizing this guy as an athlete? Anthony Rizzo is 100%.
Yes.
I mean, there is nothing that this guy does that would make me second guess, well, maybe you shouldn't totally look up to him and everything that he does. No. I mean, on the field, off the field, family. I mean, this guy, he's the guy that you want your kid to have a poster up on the wall. So,
well, not mine, but
you do.
You do.
No. All right. So you guys are in favor of that, right? I mean, why not? I couldn't think of any reason why that shouldn't happen in baseball. I'm actually surprised it doesn't happen a little bit more, but I think it has. How many teams do we know of that have that face, that character? I mean, let's just pull out. Let's just pick on one, right? I mean, who's the captain of the Mariners? Who's the captain of the Orioles? Is it Adam Jones? Who's the captain of the Tampa Bay Rays now? It's like it's rare that you have that
today or tomorrow.
Do they have players still?
That's one thing we didn't have on our list.
By the way, their new blog, Rays Tank. Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Well, they actually have one of those in the outfield. I've seen it before. But guys, I mean, that's one thing we didn't have on our topics. Maybe we can hit it later on. But wow, a Florida baseball fan life has to suck right now if you're from that area.
We talked about it earlier in the season. We might as well talk about it now. You brought it up.
Sure.
We talked about it earlier in the season. I think that this offseason very much has to put in doubt the ability of baseball to survive in Florida.
I'm 100% with you, and I don't know if this is. I'm sure that somebody has brought this up at some point in time, but I have to. There's a suspicion in my head, and I can't go through logic right now why I think this way, not systematically, but you got to think that ownership group about the Marlins, including Derek Jeter, and I know they're tied into a new stadium and everything, but part of you goes, boy, I just wonder if they're part of the angle is just to get that team out of there. Is to move them somewhere that they think they can actually succeed. Maybe not. I mean, maybe with the deal with that stadium is going to tie them there for a long time.
But that stadium is so new. It costs the taxpayers so much money. There is no way that they move that baseball team.
Well,
they'll just deal with the lawsuit.
Right. Yeah, I don't know legally what would happen to them, repercussions if they did pull out of there. But part of me is suspicious of that, guys. I don't know if the ownership group truly believes, even if they rebuild. If they try the same formula that the Cubs and the Astros and other teams are trying now, if that actually does work, if they're ever going to attract the crowd that they think if somebody at some point in time thought could draw to that stadium, I just don't know if it's ever going to happen.
With the success of the Las Vegas hockey team, do you think they'd maybe vie to get that baseball team moved to Las Vegas?
I think Las Vegas would be chomping at the bit to get another team in there. I don't know about how you guys feel. How do you feel about that, Pete? Do you think Vegas would be
so. I think so too. And I would imagine that Major League Baseball, forget about the success of the Golden Knights. I think that Major League Baseball probably would love to have a team in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, and we'll see how football survives there, but I would think that would be a prime location. I don't know, really, to think of anywhere else is a little bit of a struggle, right, guys? I mean, they're not going to put another team on the East Coast, so you're going to get too much opposition over that. So the East Coast, I think, is out for any move or expansion.
Unless they back to Montreal.
No, I mean, I think the only other place that maybe where baseball is actually really big would be in Nebraska. I know that sounds weird, but that's where the College World Series is held every year, and they attract a lot of baseball fans out there. So I think maybe that's one of the few cities that maybe you could see a baseball team going to. Sacramento is probably another one. After that, I mean.
Do we really need another California team, though?
I don't think we do. I mean, the other city that kind of pops in my head, but it would get a lot of opposition too, would be Nashville.
That probably would be a good city. And if you think about it, Charlotte, I think, is a prime place for a Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, because that's all Ron needs is another team that he can't watch the Cardinals play.
Well, actually, I can watch those on local TV if it ever actually happens out here. But Elliott, I somewhat agree that would be great. I would certainly welcome it. I would welcome a rooting for a second team. But boy, that's tough to imagine with Washington and Baltimore and then Atlanta and then the Reds claiming that this is their area too. I think that would be a tough hill to
but
climb.
you got to think though, you've got an NHL team in Raleigh, you've got the Panthers there in Charlotte. It makes sense. I think the people of North Carolina and South Carolina, I felt like we're clamoring for a team to call their own because yes, Atlanta's 4 hours away, but that's Atlanta, Georgia. That's not Carolina.
Well, the one thing that might carry it here locally, and you lived here too, so you know this, is that there are a lot of transplant people here. So
a lot.
If this city had not grown like it has grown, I wonder if it could support Carolina football, because I don't know how many, of course, there's a lot of Panthers fans at those games, but Pete, you came down here for a game too. There are a lot of people from the New York area. That live down here now. Now, that's the one thing that could make it plausible to support a major league team is you have enough true baseball fans that were out of this area that have moved down here and would love to drive 25 minutes to see a game versus 4 hours to Atlanta. However, I don't know if this. I think this is definitely more of a basketball football region, and so I think Charlotte I think it would be tough for them. But I don't know. I don't know what else. But I mean, Florida, Pete, you were hitting on this, and for as long as, I'm not saying the people of Florida, but the officials in Florida whined about having a baseball team for years and years and years before they ever did. They haven't supported them at all.
No,
neither. So,
well, you ready? I'm gonna be a little counterintuitive here, and I think I know why baseball doesn't work in Florida.
Okay,
it's the weather.
Too nice.
It's too hot.
No. So think about it, right?
Yeah.
Football does fine.
Other things to do.
Not just that there are other things to do, but think about the weather. Football does fine in Florida. That's a fall-winter sport. The weather in Florida is better in the fall and the winter.
Yeah, you're looking between
basketball does fine.
Yeah.
Basketball does fine. It's a late fall, winter, and spring sport.
And
indoors. So it doesn't matter, right? Hockey didn't do well. Baseball does great when it's spring training and the weather is mild. But when baseball is played in the summer, Florida sucks. It is hot. It is muggy. And so then you have to play it indoors. Who wants to be indoors in the summer in Florida?
When you have a beach across.
When you have a beach, right? In both places have beaches within minutes. Who's going to want to spend time watching a baseball game indoors? But you can't watch a baseball game outdoors there, because in order to watch a baseball game, you have to sit in one place. But it's so humid that it's not comfortable, particularly for people who have moved down there. I think the weather is actually what counterintuitively kills baseball in the major leagues.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about. And I wouldn't say you're wrong. What's amazing is you have people from the region, and you have a large Hispanic population who's from a hotter region, and you would think that wouldn't be the issue. But you're right. There are a lot of people that live in Florida that are not from Florida. They're actually from the north. And I tell you, for me though, personally, I'd rather sweat my ass off in a game than freeze out here in this place right now. I don't like cold anymore. I'm done. All right, guys. So expansion wasn't on the plate tonight, but I'm glad we touched on that because I'm suspicious. You know, if we could look through in a crystal ball forward in time, does Florida have a team in the next, you know, in 15 or 20 years from now?
I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder too.
All right, guys. I bet the Rays stay.
You think so?
I bet the Marlins are out. Yeah.
Well, I think it'd be the other way around.
I think Tampa gets more of a crowd because they have generally had a more sustainable team than Miami has had.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel, even though Miami's won a World Series, I still think Tampa's more the team that gets the fans than Miami does.
Boy, I don't know. Maybe you have attendance up in front of you. I don't, but I've only been to one game in Tampa, and I think I've talked about it on the show before that I could hear the umpire calling balls and strikes from the upper deck, and it was against the Red Sox, which you would think that would draw a little bit more of a crowd, but it absolutely didn't. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, guys. We're gonna pivot real quick because the Cardinals welcomed a former face and a former Cub face.
Yeah, and he was a welcomed Cub, and I liked him when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see his face.
Yeah, it's
welcome to beard.
Yeah, welcome to beard.
Yeah, nobody's seen his face for years.
Welcome back, Jason Mott, to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Jason Mott donning the Cardinal red once again. Now, interesting about Mott actually had caught my brother-in-law when he was in the minor leagues with the Cardinals. So my brother-in-law has known him.
Mott started out as a catcher?
Mott started out as a catcher and was converted to a pitcher.
Interesting.
Wow. Yep. I did not know that.
Yep. He had a gun, and I don't know what kind of a hitter he was. I hadn't gotten to that deep conversation about it, but yeah, he had started out as a catcher. So kind of coming full circle here, you would think that he signed a minor league deal. And you know what's just incredible is there's two things to talk about.
Oh my God, there was a ton of hate when Mott signed.
Just ridiculous.
And I didn't understand it because it's like it's a minor league deal.
Right.
You lose nothing here, guys.
No, that was my logic I used on a couple of the groups that I'm involved with, but it is zero risk move. I mean, there's no risk to it. It's a minor league contract. He's not eating up a spot on the 40-man roster. I mean, he has to come in camp and just kick ass to even make this club going up north. And the chances that happen are probably slim. But look, this is a depth move. This is just a little bit more insurance. Bring somebody in who's you can say he's had mixed results. That's fine. But I think he's had a decent career in the bullpen, closer or not. But he's had a decent career. So bring a guy in who's a veteran. He was part of a winning team. He threw the last out of the 2011 World Series. He's a guy that's been there. If nothing else, to have a guy like that around your young guys in camp, a shaky bullpen at that. How in the hell is that? How does that jeopardize or hurt anything? And I see all kinds of people just pissing and moaning about, oh, great, he's back, and the Cubs signed Darvish. We answer with Bud Norris and Mott. These events are not related whatsoever. This is what the Cardinals fans can get somewhat upset about is that, John, you said you were confident in everything, and you're bringing in an arm every week. A veteran. So how confident were you? If Cardinal fans have a question about that, that's fine. But
I get that. But look at the Cubs. The Cubs continue to add guys. They're continuing to pick guys up. This is what you do. You especially, and I don't know the details of Mott's contract, but I mean, you look at some of the guys that the Cubs have picked up. They picked up some guys who are former major leaguers, and they picked them up on what do they call them? Dual contracts or even minor league contracts.
Yeah. You're trying to find a guy who's
look at Peter Bourjos, right? Peter Bourjos has played in the majors. The Cubs signed him to a minor league contract. In all likelihood, he is not going to break camp with the Cubs, but he's exactly the kind of guy that Theo Epstein tends to bring up in September to provide that speed and defense off the bench in the last month as you're getting ready for the playoffs. Those are the kind of moves that you make when you are fine-tuning your roster. And I guess that's the difference. Cardinals fans, I would assume, probably still feel like this roster is incomplete. And Mosaic,
that's the rub.
Think roster is pretty much done where it is, and now they're fine-tuning it for camp battles and then for opening day.
Yeah. So I didn't think anything of this. I mean, me as a fan, I'm actually glad to see the guy back. I'm glad to see somebody back into the mix of men in the camp. And he was a part of the organization when they had a good run, right? And so you have that experience and that attitude. You bring some of that back into camp. I don't know how this hurts anything. So I don't know why people are so pissed off about it. I mean, they're obviously mad about something else, and the fact that they didn't see on a press release a big name tied to the Cardinals, they're upset about that because they're seeing a big name tied to the Cubs like just a week before or a week or 2 weeks before that, and they're you know the story, right? You know how this goes. I mean, it's people firing off just based on emotion. They're not thinking about this, and that's fine. I mean, and they can do what they want, but I don't understand the hate for a guy like that. I really don't. He's not. No. I'm not suggesting he's going to come in and score 45 saves this year. I'm just saying it's a depth move and it's harmless.
But you know what? What's the harm if he does? If you bring him in and he ends up earning his spot and he becomes your closer and he does close 45 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you stand nothing.
Why not take that chance? Really? Exactly. Is that are Cardinals fans that tied to Luke?
No. This is fans in baseball in general. This is what it is. We all have our basket of people who don't think, they type and they don't think about it.
Would the Cardinals rather have them sign O?
Oh God, my son wouldn't. Jesus, you just said if he's listening, he's gonna call like in 2 seconds. Thank you. I'm watching my phone right now. It's sitting here.
All right, Brayden, we're ready to hear from you.
Yeah. I tell you what, guys, we would have to do a special episode if they actually picked him up. We'd have to have breaking coverage on that because I might have to calm that kid down. He disliked any Cardinal player as much as he had O. But I haven't seen a reliever as bad as O performed last year in a very long time. So, and that's Brayden's first experience with a reliever that you have zero confidence in, and he just makes you. Like, it's just cringeworthy watching him throw. And my son's going through that as a fan for the first time. So O's his first experience with that. We've all had him, right? I mean, if we could take him back in time and watch, some of the, if you could watch, what was the guy, LaTroy Hawkins try to close for the Cubs.
No. My number one worst closer is Carlos Marmol.
Oh God, he was a mess.
Oh my! Every time he came in, this is how it went. It went walk, hit by pitch, home run, or a freaking double. I mean, almost every single time.
Yeah,
it was like clockwork.
You know what's funny, guys, is you get relievers like that who just can't help themselves but to put guys on base, right. And then the funny ones are the ones that bitch because they're not starting. Like, dude, because you throw 40 pitches an inning, that's why you're not starting because you can't throw strikes. Yep. You do everything you can to make sure that people are biting their nails in the stands before you even sniff at their out. So, yeah, those are not fun.
It was so bad. Okay, so this is when I was first dating my wife, and we'd be sitting there watching a game, and they'd bring Carlos Marmol in, and she would get up and she would leave the room. She's like, "I'm not watching that." She's like, "I know exactly what's going to happen right now," and I'm like, "What's going to happen?" She's like, "He's going to put 2 guys on base and someone's going to hit a home run. That's exactly what he's going to do." And I'm like,
yeah, she's right.
I'm going to marry this woman.
Yep.
I did.
All right, guys. So I'm excited to see a former Cardinal that was part of the organization when it was going well back in camp. But let's talk about an unpleasant subject. I'm not even sure. Pace of play, right? The pace of play hurts him really. I don't know if I'm being exactly who I accused the zealot Cardinal fans that were pissed off about Jason. I'm being the same guy right now, so I'm being hypocritical about this. But some of the ideas have been thrown about a pace of play. Guys, what do you think? I mean, the being able to rewrite your lineup in the 9th inning.
Stupid.
Jesus, I've heard some dumb ideas.
What is this? Is this T-ball? Are these 8-year-olds playing? Is this 9 people have to bat an inning. I mean,
this is the same thinking that leads to either shootouts ending a hockey game or 3-on-3 ending a hockey game.
Okay,
right?
No, let's go. Stop you there because I like the 3-on-3.
No. But hang on. Here's the thing: you've just gotten done playing 60 minutes of a game one way, and because you don't have and because it ends in a tie, you're suddenly going to play it differently. Play the same damn game. And that's why don't put somebody on second base to start the extra.
No, because that's different.
Don't allow you to rewrite your lineup. You play the same game that you've played up to this point.
The difference with hockey and putting somebody on base is a little bit different.
It's not when you ever see 3-on-3 during a hockey game.
During fights? When there's fights?
Never. You never see 3-on-3. It never happens.
But it's still the same game.
No, it's not the same game.
You're not.
That would be like taking
giving an advantage to anybody, though.
Yeah, you are.
You still have the same amount of people.
You are giving advantage to the team. I can't believe we're going to talk about hockey on a baseball podcast, but you're giving advantage to a team that has more skilled players. A team that has Patrick Kane has an advantage in 3-on-3 hockey.
Yeah, the team that has Patrick Kane has an advantage over most teams.
But not in 5-on-5, because with 5 guys on the ice, they're able to clog things up, and it does slow Patrick Kane down. When he's got that much open ice, it's not the same game. I know you're thrilled, Ron. Just thrilled.
Sorry, guys. I had to break away just 1 second. Joe Boo needed a refill.
Joe Boo, I thought you were on the phone with your son.
But putting a person, starting a person on second is ridiculous because
your lineup's ridiculous.
Because all you got to do is lay down pretty much 2 bunts, or you hit one to the outfield and throw down a bunt. I mean, there's so many scenarios, but
here's the thing, guys.
The point, I think it's stupid.
Well, I don't like any of these suggestions either. However, the just talking about
the visits to the mound, that is my biggest problem, because those don't take up all the time in the world. It's the changes in pitching. I mean, you got your catcher. If they cross up signs, they got to talk. They got to find out where they crossed up signs.
I like the idea that if you're going to change a pitcher, he's got to face at least 2 batters.
I like that too, Pete. I actually agree with you on that one. I totally agree with you on that one. Now, guys,
get rid of the loogies and the rookies. Yeah. You have to face 2 batters, so you can't come in.
There's nothing more.
If a pitcher can't face 2 batters, then there's a problem with that pitcher.
Well, maybe, but the topic I love hearing people chat about over off season: who's our loogie going to be? Like, or who's our backup catcher? Jesus, come on. I'd love to see that go away. But the one thing, guys, that just you guys have talked about it, and I probably missed it, and I did miss it, but the rewriting the lineup in the 9th inning is just the argument the argument for it is like, well, LeBron,
there is no argument for it.
There isn't. I mean, the contexts are completely different. This is a strategy game, and you want to talk about shitty closers? Imagine them facing the heart of the lineup, mandatory, like every 9th inning. I mean, you want to talk about some bad closers, right? I mean, they're really going to be exposed if that ever happened. But it's never going to happen because it's a terrible idea.
I wouldn't put it past Manfred, because he's looking to deflect attention from everywhere except where it really deserves to be. Because you want to address pace of play. You need to take it up with the umpires union, because they're the ones who are causing the games to slow down more than anything. If you call the strike zone, as it's written, pace of play picks up.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you.
Umpires enforce the rules as written, and a batter won't get back in the box, or a pitcher is taking too long, you don't need a pitch clock. An umpire knows when a guy is stalling. If he's stalling and he doesn't throw a pitch, or he won't get in the batter's box, then call a strike, call a ball, move the game along. Don't indulge these guys just because they make millions of dollars. Play the game the way it's written instead of catering to these prima donnas. You know, I'm sorry. And Barry Bonds is gonna armor up, and he's gonna lean out over the plate, and he's not gonna feel it when he gets hit by a pitch. Fine. Don't call it a hit by pitch. Call it a ball, but don't call it a hit by pitch.
Yeah, you didn't try to get out of the way, and
you didn't try to avoid contact. You're right. It wasn't a strike, but it certainly wasn't a hit by pitch. You didn't try to avoid contact. In fact, you leaned into it, so it's a ball.
Yeah. Continue the bat. Yeah, totally agree with you there. I think you're absolutely right. The other thing, now the one thing I probably am not disagreeing with as violently as you were, Elliott, was the runner on second base. Now I'll say it in this way: doing it in the first extra inning, in the 10th inning, no. There's got to be a point in time though where you're in the 12th, you're in the 13th, where I don't think it would be the most awful suggestion to do that
when you run out of pitchers.
Well, not even that, but when you start getting into extremely late innings. Now, let's say this. Let me preface this by saying playoff games, you throw that out. No, you can't do that in playoff games.
No.
Well, but then you're not playing the same game.
Well, but
you play it all season long.
You need again. I hate to bring it back to hockey, but you got to look at hockey.
They don't do shootouts.
Right? They do not do shootouts in playoffs. They keep
I know.
Keep playing.
That's the way the playoffs
until
should be.
Somebody wins.
But if you're going to play that way in the playoffs, then what it says is that there is a value to an ending. And so if you're going to play that way in the playoffs, you should play that way in the regular season. And you know what?
You got to think to a lot of teams doesn't every game matter to them when they get down to the end of the season and they're one game back? I mean,
okay, and here's
isn't it fair to all those other teams?
All right, and here's a novel idea then. And I don't know, set the limit at what, but fine. At some point, we're just going to declare it a tie.
A tie in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, if you're that concerned that you're going to start throwing gimmicks into the extra innings, then fine. Just say after 15 innings, it ends in a tie.
Yeah, would you go? I mean, I guess you go more like almost like a point system in the standings at that point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
and you can still calculate winning percentages.
Yeah.
You could. But no, for me personally, I look. I don't know how diehard you guys are with the football overtime rules. I'm glad that it wasn't the sudden death where a coin flip essentially dictates a winner, which should never happen. So I'm glad to see that the other team actually gets a chance.
Yeah,
I like to see that happen. That was a good change that they made. And college football, they start at what yard line? I mean, they really don't even kick off. They start at 25.
Yeah, 25 or 30 or something.
So I mean, it happens in other sports, and I know these things are different, but I think in the regular season that once you get into those extreme late innings, I would just be curious about how well would that work, and would that matter at all? Would it make a difference? I'm sure it would, but boy, when we get into those extra late innings, like, I'd say magic number 13. By the time you get to the 13th inning, fine, start out with a runner on second base. Both teams get to do it. So I don't know. I'm not opposed to that. In the 10th inning, hell no.
Yeah, because that's the most exciting way to end a game. Sacrifice bunt, sacrifice fly, game's over.
Absolutely. But both teams have to execute it.
Well, okay.
Not every team can.
No, you're right. Not every team can, but is that really, even if it's only half the teams, is that really the way that you want? Look, if half the teams do it, that means that every game is going to end like that.
But Pete, it'll improve the pace of play.
No, it won't. It's already extra innings. Pace play.
Because at that point, you're at 3 or 4 hours already.
And Rob Manfred gave up the ghost. What was it, yesterday or the day before yesterday? This is all about television.
Well,
so here's the question. So
that their broadcast partners have done the research, and their broadcast partners have said, and the broadcast partners' audiences have said, I agree. Baseball is not the most exciting thing to watch on TV. It's far more entertaining when you're in the park.
You know what?
But they're running awfully close to alienating the diehard fans by continuing to make all these changes to the game.
And I had this conversation with my wife the other night. I said, we were sitting there talking about baseball, and she's like, there's two kinds of people in this world that like sports. There's the people that like going to sports, and there's the people that can sit down in front of the TV and watch sports. And she's like, and the person who can sit down and watch baseball, they're a special kind of person. She's like, there's not a lot of them out there, but the people that do that, they're the people that love that sport. And I agree with her. Yeah. There's been plenty of times when I was in high school, when I was in college, and somebody would come in and be like, why are you sitting here watching a baseball game? Because I love baseball. And I could never sit and watch a baseball game on TV, but I could go to a game. It's like,
well, that's because you're a loser and you have no culture. Get the hell out of my apartment. That's
you know,
what
you know what? I kind of wonder if part of the problem isn't also that baseball is so saturating now, because pace of play in football is much worse than baseball.
We've talked about this, Pete, and that's when you break that down and think about out of a 5 minute stretch of a broadcast, you've got like 26 seconds of actual action.
Right. Well, think about it. A football game on the clock takes 60 minutes, but it takes close to 4 hours, which means that for 75% of it or more, nothing is happening.
Hey, it runs into my goddamn DVR TV shows on Sunday night.
Exactly.
Every single Sunday night by like 45 minutes.
But you're willing to put up with it because you're willing to put up with it because it happens once a week. Baseball happens every single day.
Yeah. That's so true. And we talked about the Florida sport too, Pete. Football's thrived down there. But to your point you made earlier, what the point you made just now, it's once a week. People tolerate it for once a week. They're going to tolerate it every night. And so, yeah.
This is and here's another one. There is no better sport to listen to on radio than baseball.
Yes,
because of its pace. Because it
you ever listen to hockey? You ever listen to hockey on the radio?
You can't keep any of them, right? Listen to a football game. There is so much talking going on. They can't actually talk about what's happening because they have to provide so much detail in order to paint that picture in your mind of what's happening on the field. But excuse me, it doesn't take much. Yeah. Once you've set what the lineups are and what the teams are wearing, it doesn't take much to say, Kershaw goes into his windup. Here's the pitch, high fastball past Rizzo for strike one.
I tell you what.
And you know exactly what's going on because if you've seen Anthony Rizzo bat once, you know what his swing looks like. You know what he looks like setting up in the box. You know what Clayton Kershaw looks like when he's approaching home plate. And it all activates in your mind.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, quick pause for a second. Hey, watchers, I want thumbs up now. Do it. Thumbs up. Hit it.
Hit the thumbs up.
Hit thumbs up. Do it.
We're watching. But not Ron's thumbs up on being all in for the Cubs.
Hit subscribe.
Hit that subscribe. Thumbs up. Let's go. All right. that was for entertainment purposes only. All right. Pace of play is not an exciting topic for me. And guys, let's leave this topic here, and let's just say that baseball better be careful that they don't alienate the people, the fans they have today. They need to be careful of that. And I don't know. I didn't mind this commissioner at first, but Pete, the more we've been exposed to him, the more I'm worried that he's coming in like a bull in a china shop with this whole notion of pace of play. And it's I'm worried about alienating the fans that they have, the fans that have been there forever and supported them forever, and have funded baseball for years and made it what it is. It's the fans. So we're a caution there, Bobby.
I agree 100%. The fact that he seems to hold nothing sacred about baseball, you almost wonder why he's doing this.
Exactly.
Because he certainly doesn't seem to have any loyalty, any feeling of owing anything to baseball, and nothing for him is sacred.
It's like he's trying to come in and fix a terrible company. Like one of those presidents that come in and are like, oh, this is bad. I've got much better ideas. I came from, a smarter way of doing things, and I know better.
And honestly, if he was concerned about pace of play, and this is where I think also that it gets lost in the weeds, is they're talking about pace of play, and yet he sets a time limit as kind of his gauge of where he wants it. Well, as we well know, having watched baseball for a combined probably 90 years.
It makes us sound really old.
I know. Time has nothing to do with the pace of play. Those are two completely separate things. You can have a well-paced game that ends in 3 hours, but the score might be 10-9. You can also have a very boring game that ends in 2.5 hours because it's the kind of game that I prefer, where it's a 1-0, combined one hitter.
Yeah.
So, but
now,
look,
have you seen the statistics of what?
He's really concerned, hang on a second, Elliot. If he's really concerned with pace of play, even though I don't like the idea, bring the designated hitter both leagues.
At the end of the day, how many minutes are we talking about that these pace of play rules are going to speed up this game?
Well, I think
I think what we've been looking at is 10 minutes.
I don't think they're going to speed up the game at all.
No, I don't think so
either.
Because there's going to be a way that these players are going to figure out how to get around these rules, and they're going to start yelling from the dugout, and they're going to use signals more, and it's going to take just as much time to get through these games. Or you're going to have guys like Wilson Contreras who are going to say, I don't give a shit what they're going to find me. I'm still going to go out there, and I'm going to talk to my pitcher if I need to.
Well, and also, if you're going to talk about pace of play and you're going to worry about how long games are, why has nobody talked about the fact nobody mentions instant replay? And I understand that the goal is to get it right, but if on average there are probably 3 instant replays per game, if each one takes a minute and a half, there's your 5 minutes.
Shit, yeah. I've seen 5-minute replays.
Well, yeah. I know, but I'm saying they're supposed to be a minute and a half,
right?
So if each one takes a minute and a half, there's your 5 minutes right there.
Right.
Now, I like the idea of getting the call right, but then don't complain about the games being over 3 hours long.
Yeah, well, the length of the game is, I think, the wrong area to look.
I agree.
Right? If they're focused on just the length of a game, I think they're missing the point. Now, if they're talking about, hey, like I think what you were saying, Pete, is a game can be 4 hours, but if it's an exciting game and the pace of the action, then you're right, it doesn't matter. And I think I'd rather know that they're looking at that. And when I hear another thing that I think is ridiculous, and let me explain why, they're going to be more strict about the time between innings. Guys, you can be as strict as you want. That's about money. That's about advertisement. You are not going to shorten the length between innings. It's just not going to happen. That's a financial vein. You're not going to sever that. Just don't even.
As evidenced by the fact that the time between innings varies depending on whether it's a local broadcast, a national broadcast, or a playoff game.
Right. That's not going to change. That's just ridiculous to tell us that.
There's nothing wrong with the pace of play with baseball. It's going to take 3 hours. And I expect the game to take 3 hours. It's 9 innings.
And you can't shorten the length between innings because I need to go take a piss.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Don't mess with that.
I need to go stand in line for the trough.
For the trough, which is more water efficient.
It is.
In Rome.
No.
Not in Rome anymore.
It's more water efficient.
In Roman times.
And it allows more people to urinate per square foot.
That's true. Elbows to elbows.
And who doesn't want a lightsaber fight while they're waiting to go back to the game?
Of course you do.
That's right. That's
guys, last topic. And I don't know why it's on here because I think we already talked about it. Spring training. So any major
we did
coming out of spring training? We did. I know we jumped ahead. I will. The thing I like about games starting tomorrow is no, I don't watch them in detail, but I like the sound in the background, knowing that baseball is happening.
I like
in some way, shape, or form.
Ball to the bat. The sound is amazing. I mean, when they started posting the pitchers, thrown to each other, the pitchers thrown to the catchers, just that sound. I mean, it makes me feel good. It brings me that warm feeling inside in this cold ass weather that I've got here in Wisconsin. So
maybe you should buy one of our shirts where Pete and I look like we're chomping on your nipples.
There you go.
I tell you what, I
don't understand why I need to buy one. I think you should just send me one.
Here's the thing. So I want to give them a shout out tonight to Cardinals Nation 24/7 and Cardinals Nation Facebook
Chris.
group. Chris Lawless, hello Chris. That he heads up. So I sent Chris a shirt and it got lost by USPS. So
and by the way, I want to point out that Chris got a shirt before I did.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
I think Chris is responsible for getting us quite a few followers. So anyway, the point is, so he got it they sent him another one, so he got both of them on the same day.
Oh, nice.
Like the other one was found, and they both showed up. So he posted a picture of himself in the shirt, and of course, this had never occurred to me. This had never occurred to me. He takes a picture of himself in it. He's sporting those threads well too. But some follower comments that, boy, it looks like two guys are trying to bite your nipples. And I'm like, and now I'm self-conscious about our logo and where I locate them on the shirts. But you know what? I think we should go with it, Pete. I think that's a good thing.
I think we need to embrace it.
I think maybe we add to the logo 2 little dots to mark where they should go, and everybody can wear that.
There you go.
Wear it proud.
Oh man, I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah, I know. That's right. We're dropping it right there. Spring training, guys. I will be watching I'll be at work tomorrow, but I will put the MLB app on, and I will have the game on in the background because I just want to hear baseball sounds. Excited to hear that.
Yeah, and MLB Network's got quite a few games on tomorrow. I think the Cardinals actually play. I know they play in the afternoon, but they're airing the game on MLB Network tomorrow. I think at like 9 o'clock, 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Cubs are on at 2 or 3. So, and I think Washington and Oakland play at noon. So,
yeah, but we both know that the only reason to watch that is to watch our future right fielder.
Shut the hell up! I knew you were going to say that, man. I knew you were going to go there. All right, gentlemen. I think this is for the last week in February. I think this is where we end tonight's show. Unless you have anything else that you just have to get out of your system.
Hey,
tell you what, go ahead.
No, both of you. All right.
So I sent you guys the text message with that dual picture with Kyle Schwarber, spring training 2016, spring training 2017, and the way that he looks. Holy smokes.
He does look a lot different.
He looks a ton, and like I said, he looked like Ben Zobrist. Like I had to pinch in and see. I'm like, is that really how skinny that he got? I mean, holy smokes. The guy has transformed his body.
Well, I told you,
and we have yet to see how that's gonna equate in the field. I mean, hopefully he's lighter on his feet, and that improves his defense out there in left field.
His base running.
And his base running, yeah. I mean,
I will say
Wilson Contreras running down the bases now.
I will say, if you didn't have context, right? Somebody just showed you those pictures and you didn't know what had happened in the offseason, you would think he was dying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's got an illness and he had the Jason Giambi whatever Jason Giambi had.
Well, yeah, right, because you would have never. I mean, if you look at Kyle Schwarber spring training 2017, come on, Ron. I think we talked about it at the time. He's definitely one of your beer league all-stars. He's got the beard belt.
he was last year, but
I know.
He's not now.
Yeah, you're right. He's definitely not now. He would show up and you'd be like, dude, come on.
Dude, you're off the team.
Have that ringer.
He is your Ron Coomer slash
Bob Hamlin.
Okay, so this was in the 90s when Ron Coomer was the right fielder for the Chicago Cubs. You had the other guy who was like who looked just like Ron Coomer, and
I remember Ron Cooper, third baseman, right?
Yes.
Or is that was Scott Cooper I'm thinking of.
God, who?
How the hell do I remember that, guys?
Matt Stairs. It was Ron Coomer and Matt Stairs.
Well, I think he was our beer league all-stars. Sorry, go on.
Stairs? I think like, you called him out. You called him out on the beer league all-stars, Pete.
He is. And when I think I was in high school, and I was like, man, those two guys look like after like every time they have a game, they go out and they do shots of Jack after the game every single day. I mean, they looked like those dudes. So
you know who was leading them to the bars?
Harry?
Kyle Farnsworth.
That's right. That's right.
Actually, he was already there.
When
he was over, Farnsworth was there. He didn't wait to take a shower or even get out of his uniform. He just walked across the street.
His cleats on. You heard the cleats clinking on That's cement. Right. Yeah, right, and asphalt. No, but I look back to the Schwarber's body change, and it does look incredible. I mean, he obviously put tons and tons and tons of work in to get himself in shape. We saw, if you guys remember, last year in spring training, we saw Matt Adams all of a sudden do
a
very, very similar thing where Pete, to your point, man, if you didn't know and somebody showed you a picture, you'd be wondering who that person was. Lance Lynn did the same thing 1 year too, where all of a sudden he went from, I think he's kind of back to where he was, but there was a year he showed up in spring training where he was not recognizable. So this happens from time to time, and we'll see if this pays off for him. I'm sure he's worked on agility and everything, so he's committed to be a left fielder. So I give the guy tons of credit for doing something about having a shitty year.
I agree. I'm excited to see what he's able to do.
Yeah,
should be interesting.
Right. Yep, it will be interesting, and we're going to find out. Guys, Pete, where do we go from here?
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Team of Rivals Pod, Team of Rivals Podcast, and Team of Rivals Podcast, respectively. You can find us online at teamofrivalspodcast.com. Contact us by email at theShow@teamofrivalspodcast. You can contact my man there in Wisconsin via Twitter at
TORELLIOTT.
You forgot the underscore.
TOR_ Elliott. Sorry. I've had a couple all days. TOR_ Elliott.
And then obviously encourage your friends to subscribe, to like, rate, review, share, follow, whatever the verb of choice is on the various media sites, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, and of course, visit our newest edition, the Team of Rivals podcast shop at Zazzle.com.
Oh, fuck. You don't have to say that. You say go to teamofrivalspodcast.com. There's a link up top. Takes you to everything you want, your wildest dreams, and we will keep adding to it. Pete already added to it tonight. He added a coffee mug.
My wildest dreams are at Zazzle.
Don't doubt it. Yeah. Don't doubt it.
You know what? And I want to send a shout out to the Discord channel, the Major League Baseball chat Discord channel. If you're looking to chat with like-minded baseball enthusiasts, download Discord, throw it on your phone, download it on your computer, and check it out. There's a lot of Cubs fans. There's a lot of Cardinals fans. We've got plenty of other Diamondbacks fans. I mean, there's a lot of us. We talk baseball. We throw memes out there. We do quotes. It's a really great community. It doesn't matter who you root for. They love talking baseball. They love talking everything. So there's different channels for each different National League and American League division. So it's pretty awesome. So get out there. My boy Rapper started this a few years ago, and he's done a nice job with the channel. So plenty of baseball chat on there. So get out there and join Discord too.
All right, everyone. Well, check out all that stuff. And guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I plan on doing it. Work's been hell this week, and so I'm ready to unwind. And I'm starting early. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for the support we've seen over the last several weeks. It hasn't gone unnoticed. And everyone, we will talk to you again next week. All right. Bye, everyone.